I move into a discussion of all things Kryon. Joe from Long Beach in California is saying, after the dark energy has been defeated and the world starts to awaken, what happens to Kryon? You are a dear friend and it seems that you'll be out of a job. Your question makes me laugh, Joe. I love it. And then there's one last part to Joe's question to Kryon. Where will you go and what will you do when ascension is all over?
Joe, first of all, Lee Carroll, I'm not going to be here. That scenario you just described, according to Kryon, it's not going to be that way or complete for another generation at least. So I won't be out of a job. But Kryon has answered that in a different way, your very question. As you have indicated, there may not be a need for any channeling like you see today. Everyone will be able to receive good information through intuition. So instead of gathering around asking those kinds of questions to a channeler, like in this program, each individual will be able to channel this kind of knowledge for themselves. Now that is our promise. As for me in my next life, Kryon has already told me I won't be needing to channel, but rather to take the lineage of my DNA of the wisdom from Kryon, carry it into the next life, and teach it to build new paradigms and new unthought of systems. So I'm very happy with that, and I'm happy where I am now in the place of history. I find myself right now in the now. I really look forward to the next time, however.
Well, thank you, Lee. And again, before we start the discussions, I'd like to chat about that question a little more because I almost felt that Joe was also thinking that Kryon would be out of a job.
I don't know.
And it could be that we get so linear.
Yeah.
And for spirit, for creator, for God, for Kryon,
angels are not going to go away because we get enlightened. They're going to show up more.
But it's not a job for them.
Not a job.
It's not a job, it's their existence.
That's right.
But I do also remember, Joe, if I can speak to you in this way, that I heard Kryon say once that there'll come a time when the idea of gathering in a darkened room to hear channeling will not be needed. It'll be viewed as something quaint. And in that moment, I felt saddened because it has become such a joy to me to hear Kryon and the messages that come through Lee. There's this kind of euphoric connection. But then I got it when Kryon said, it's not going to be needed because every human will have that built in for themselves. They won't need to get it from another source. Can you imagine all of you who really just feel so uplifted and empowered by Kryon, who I don't know how many times we've been to seminars where someone will say, Kryon was speaking directly to me. I mean, to me and my situation. Because Kryon knows us so well. And if that has been you, imagine an entire planet that feels they have this connection to a bigger part of themselves that makes them feel that way and allows them to find those answers and the messages that they were needing exactly at that right time. So, Lee, I think that was a really good question from Joe to kind of elicit that information about where we're headed and why we have such a bright future.
I don't think we can imagine it. But I just love the idea.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you again for the questions. And if you do have a question for us, please go to your portal and submit them. But now we're going to move into another part of the program where Lee and I want to discuss the things that are near and dear to our hearts, what's happening, what's been happening, where we're going next.
I love to talk about some things that we never talk about. You know, we're starting to travel more, and we just came back from, it was a month ago, we went to Hot Springs, Arkansas, with a whole group. It was a beautiful group of people, and something happened, and I have to tell you, it surprised me, and yet I expected it. In Sedona, in, what was it? Was it a year ago? Now 2 years ago? I even forget.
Sedona 23.
Yeah. We had the green mist. Most of you members know, and we've talked about this, the green mist was actually something that Kryon did live in Sedona for the first time. And at that time, I was overwhelmed at what took place. Now, I'm sitting there, and Kryon comes in, he starts talking about this, something very, very new. The idea of a metaphoric mist that was a healing mist. It comes from the other side, it curls around us, it wraps around us, it hugs us. And then he said, very clearly, he said, be quiet. There was somebody who coughed. Kryon said, stop coughing. Kryon doesn't do that. The coughing was a result of somebody who felt something coming and they didn't want it. I know that. I was sitting there feeling it all. And then there was utter silence. And Kryon said, start feeling the healing angels that are coming in. And he brought in Saint Germain, finally, the violet flame. And I was just riveted to my seat. Not that I would normally get out of it, but I knew I couldn't move if I wanted to. That was special. Then later we find out there were healings in the audience, even one of our friends. And I realized there's something there. This is new. Kryon had never done that before. I want to do this again. But then I said, I'm not going anywhere for a while. And I hadn't for a year or so. So how could I do this? So we decided to do it online. This was the beginning of the Green Mist, everybody. I'm talking to members now. That Green Mist is yours every Sunday, first of the month. I believe it's 8:30. And you can experience this. Now, how well you get into it will then determine what kind of reception you're going to have. But that's where it came from. And I want to tell you, I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do it every single time I can where we have a live meeting. I want that repeated. So what happened is I did it in Arkansas, and it happened again. And people came up later and they said, I couldn't move. Something is happening there that is different, unusual, new, and powerful. So, just so you know where that came from, how I feel about it, and where it's going, this is something I didn't expect Kryon to be doing. It's a real strong healing meeting. So, that's what I wanted to talk about.
It was beautiful,
Yeah.
and if you missed being in Hot Springs, Arkansas, I love the question we had earlier about consciousness because it plays into what I'm going to share next.
I know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah, we had on the program Jeffrey and Clayton, who have created focused life force energy, and they asked us if they could have us pick moments in the Hot Springs meeting so that they could, using their technology that they have, capture that energy that was created and then resend that energy to another meeting. And I said, yes, I love the idea of doing this. So we've told Jeffrey and Clayton that the highlights from Hot Springs, Arkansas was when we had the Green Mist meditation and also the Circle of 12 meditation. And they are going to be at our meeting in Edmonton, Canada. And for our live audience there, they're going to broadcast the energy that was created at Hot Springs, Arkansas, from the Green Mist to that audience there. And how perfect that we had the question about consciousness and how we can send it and the mechanisms of how we can send it. And now we're actually going to be doing it and experiencing it. And the other thing, Lee, for me is that Hot Springs, Arkansas, it's a portal of energy which is amplified by the crystalline deposit that is in the ground. It's a Pleiadian portal.
Oh, it really was a place to feel that, I tell you.
It's so thick with the energy of the Star Mother. So the idea of Jeffrey and Clayton targeting an area that's known for the crystals, known for Pleiadian energies with Kryon and the Green Mist, and bringing that to us again in Edmonton, Canada is going to be great.
I don't want this to be a commercial. I just want to tell everybody where we're going to be just very briefly, because we have other things we want to talk about. Just in case you didn't know and you didn't look, we are starting to, Monica and I want to travel and meet everybody again and get back on the road. We're going to be in Rochester with Dr. John Ryan with the Syrian Blue Whale Collective in September. I have been invited for the first time, to be with Gaia. This is the Gaia TV people, and it's going to be in Denver, October 19, for a live conference and streamed event. In July, July 10. We had a Todd show. How many of you saw Dr. Todd Abakaitis with us in July for the history of the choir? Well, that choir is going to be in December in Maui. There's a boat trip planned for people who were there with us and all. So I hope somebody wants to come to Hawaii and see that final choir. Then let me just mention that we're coming back to what's called the California Homeroom Christmas Meeting. And that is coming up here in December, I think, December 22. Now, did I forget Edmonton?
You did forget Edmonton, but it's November 23.
Yay.
Because I'm your brain.
See, we don't rehearse this, as you can tell. So Edmonton, Canada, forgive me. That's a very important place, and we're going to go to.
It is.
I want to discuss something that is really important to us, and that's what's happening right now to this show. How would you preface that?
Well, I kind of feel that this is almost 4 years running of Healing Wednesday, and it's kind of huge that this is our second last Healing Wednesday program, because
next to the last one.
Because I'm super excited. We are creating a new kind of Wednesday program, Wednesdays with Kryon. And already, Lee, just that title, Wednesdays with Kryon, it feels so more expansive. And the directions we've been getting from Kryon, we've been implementing them over the last few months to bring you experiences, no real interviews, so that you get immersed into affirmations, channel, meditation, experience, miracle moments, and then the circle of 12. So this is the new Wednesdays with Kryon, and you'll be getting a lot more of Lee and I. The
point I want to make is that this particular show, the one that some of you have been with us from the beginning. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Some of you have probably just come along in the last few months or whatever. I want to tell you, this was delivered originally. Actually, how long it is, what we're going to do, how it's to be structured, that all came from Kryon. And we began it and never changed it, because those were instructions from Kryon. This was COVID, and we needed this kind of a thing for COVID. So many of you remember that. It was just it's a shining light in the darkness of the shutdown, all of this, and it worked for COVID. Now we're looking at something, we're graduating. I think even as humans and what we want and what we ask for, the green mist, that was just a tremendous example. When that happened last June, June a year ago, and I thought, I want to do more of this. Not just green mist. I want this to be in the program. Healing Wednesday's an interview show with the Circle of 12. I wanted to make it a experience show. I want more music. I want all these things. Kryon is on my shoulder yelling in my ear, change the program. Things happen slowly. Big ships take a long time to turn around. But we're doing it. And we're doing it next month.
And Lee, it so coincides with this is the year of recovery.
Ooh,
and remember, Kryon said that you're recovering from the coma of darkness. Mm-hmm. And so I feel that all of the direction where we're headed with Wednesdays with Kryon is that we are moving beyond the recovery of the coma of darkness. And I think it's time now to really move into a place of joy, celebration, and uplifting. I know Healing Wednesday has been all of that, but it's really time to embrace the new prophecy, the new 24th chromosome pair, the new empowerment, and the new path that we are headed on.
And if this is news to you and you haven't heard it before, just be aware that it's all through your emails. So if you don't take your emails, well, then you're not going to hear about it. But I'll just tell you, Wednesday night, same time, same station, everything, new program. If you're a member, and you are because you're watching this, you're going to receive this automatically. You're going to see the shift and the change. And automatically, there are some other things happening. For instance, at the 5th Wednesday of this month, you get one of those great Adirondack Kryon programs that we this is only the 3rd time I think we've done that. People love that. I remember when we started saying, what is it we could give our members that is so different and so cool, if you want to say that everybody will just love it. And it's Adirondack and Kryon together, moderated by Monica, who started asking us personal questions. You know, what was this like? What was that like? And then questions to Kryon, questions to Adirondack. That's the 31st of this month. So that's an example of some of the things that you were getting that are also new. There's more.
Absolutely. So Wednesdays with Kryon, we're still going to have affirmations. We're still going to have meditation and channels. We'll do some beautiful experiences. We might even have the musicians that we've loved come back again, maybe once every quarter. There will always be the Circle of 12 and Miracle Moments. And again, it feels so much more expansive, and it's time to really utilize all the tools and gifts that we are being given. And the one that I'm excited about the mostly is enhanced intuition. I know Kryon keeps landing heavy on intuition, and why I think it's important is because we need it for our own selves, for the synchronicity that we require for knowing yes or no. Do I take this job?
Well,
do I move house? Do I break up with this person, or do I stay in the relationship? This is all from the intuition.
It's another personal story that you guys probably won't hear unless you are tuned in to this particular kind of program with Monica and I, because we don't usually talk about these things. We put this off. What it is we put off was a course, instructions on intuition. First of all, is it teachable? Yes, we have our friends. We have others who are teaching it. So sure, it's teachable. But still, it isn't anything that Kryon ever gave us to teach. Now, there have been some channelings on intuition, sure, just like almost all of the things that we teach, but I put it off. I think it was last year when we said we should do a course on intuition. And I can remember the first thing, and I said, no, move on. I was actually afraid. I don't want to use the word afraid. I was saying, Kryon really hasn't given much on intuition. So how can I teach a course with Monica and be specific about it? Where does it come from? How does it work? How can you enhance it? Is it something everybody has or only a few? Here's one. Can you plan on it? How about that one? Can you actually schedule it? How about that one? These are things that get way beyond intuition. It gets to be enhanced intuition. So finally, we agreed to do a course in intuition. And the only thing that made a difference is when I was in a shower. Here we go. See, you're not going to get this stuff unless you're listening to this program. Kryon talks to me in the shower. I think I've told you this before. And if I've got an issue in my life, Kryon talks to me in the shower. I'll go in the shower and ask Kryon about it. And if I don't get an answer, I will get out of the shower, wipe off, and get back in the shower. It's like some days I get real clean. That's the point here I want to tell you. I was in the shower, and I say, Kryon, how am I going to do a course in intuition if you haven't given any information? And the answer I got was it made me feel very small, like I wasn't thinking very well that day. And Kryon he said, give the course, I'll channel it for you as you give it. And I went, oh, I'm a channeler. Of course that'll work. So we scheduled a course on intuition, and we're working through it now, and it's a little different than you thought. Where does it come from specifically? How does it work specifically? What's it connected to? Can everybody have it? When does it appear? When does it not appear? Can you make it work better? All of these things Kryon gave us. And so, it was not my favorite course only because we normally schedule things in advance before we teach them. And right before we went on to record it, that's when we got the downloads. Here's what you teach. We're writing as fast as we can, right up to the point where we have to teach it. So this was a new experience for us. I hope other courses we do are not that way because it's a little more challenging. And then Kryon laughs and he says, you used your intuition. How'd you like it? Last minute stuff comes in. Sometimes you don't believe it. You act on it. That's intuitive. How do you feel about that, Mark?
I have a question, actually.
All right.
Just from you talking about it, and I'm going to put you on the spot.
Oh.
But I can do that.
Oh.
So, for those who are watching and they know you channel Kryon, my question kind of comes to how do you distinguish for yourself, not for anyone out there, but for yourself, how do you know when it's intuition coming in and how do you know when it's Kryon coming in?
Well, first of all, what we learned with intuition is that advanced intuition comes from spirit. So I would say a lot of the advanced intuition that I feel is the same thing I feel from Kryon. This is available to anybody. You might say you're channeling a certain part of yourself, especially in enhanced, advanced intuition. Not just the normal stuff that happens once in a while, that's survival intuition where, you stop your car and there was an accident ahead and it doesn't happen again all your life. That's one kind of intuition. But the kind we're talking about is the kind that you can count on and schedule. So the answer is that. It was easy. Things that come from me aren't that smart. Things that come from Kryon, they're really good.
But I almost feel, though, that Kryon is always there in the background.
Oh, yeah.
Always there. And so it's just you getting clear. I think Kryon kind of just steps aside because as a human, you still have to figure stuff out for yourself.
Well, then I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Okay? So you are my partner in this teaching. You teach it right alongside me. You have to have the writing of what we're going to teach and how we're going to teach it and the copy points. And that's what a teacher has to have. And it all then bopped in the day before. How did you feel about that?
I think, here's what I think, is when you open up the connection to
I know what you're going to say.
Kryon or spirit, it's almost like you surrender and step aside and you trust what you are getting feels real. And gosh, how do you even describe how do you feel? If I was to say, how do you feel things? Everyone has a different answer. But sooner or later, you start intuiting it for yourself, what it feels like. And when you're in, it's like the knowingness that you have opened a connection and there's no need to even doubt it because it's 100% real.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But let me just put it more bluntly.
Okay.
How many of you have ever been angry at God? Why didn't you tell me earlier? Why didn't why now at this last possible second do I now find the answer that was always there? And the answer is it wasn't always there. Intuition needs the field around it and all the things that are happening to know exactly when to get it. And this was our lesson.
The timing
is we only got it at the last possible moment. I think this was a crying wink to both of us as we're sitting here talking to everybody right now.
Absolutely.
We're out of time, don't you?
We are out of time. We are out of time, but I love that we get to do this again.
Yeah. Did you like it? Would you like to hear more of this? We're planning on making this particular kind of program on the fourth Wednesday of every month.
Yes.
If it falls that way. If it doesn't, we'll do it on the third or what. But if it does, we may even call it the Fourth Wednesday Forum. It's just with Monica and myself.
And
just
Kryon.
Kryon,
Yeah,
of course. Right?
of course.
Talking just about everything.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So we are out of time, but again, we're going to be doing this again in the brand new Wednesdays with Kryon. Can't wait, looking forward to it. But for now, we're going to take a short break, and then we'll see you back here for the Circle of 12.
Well, hello, welcome back. I hope you've enjoyed this new kind of show that Monica and I are going to do together. We want to do this once a month, and we're even going to name it. Monica, is that all right with you?
It is because I named it.
Because you already named it. I think it's going to be called the Fourth Wednesday Forum.
Exactly.
And the issue is this is not the fourth Wednesday. So ignore this, all of it. But the idea is in the future, starting next month, if we can, and it works this way, when we schedule all the guests in the right places, the fourth Wednesday would be us, just like this one, talking about the things that are happening, the things perhaps of Kryon or ourselves, just regular life things we'd like to talk about, just a special kind of a show.
And also, we don't always get time to get to the questions when we bring you in an experience.
Yeah.
So this is also the time where we would love to take the questions. So keep submitting your questions.
Yes,
we really love
please do.
to do.
Oh, wow.
Take them.
Well, it's time again to do our miracle moments. And this miracle moments section, I really look forward to this, even though it may not seem like it's a long section, but it's my favorite section. And that's because we get to feel the compassion from some of you as you have written about what has happened to you. Now, you can find the Miracle Moments section in your membership portal where you can request prayer. You can report some of the things that have happened to you, yourself, somebody you love. All of that is there for you. Now, if you or someone you know has had one of these miracle moments, we truly love hearing about all the miracles that have happened. Now, you might say, well, Lee, I don't know about miracles. Let me tell you, if you're new here, and I hope you are, because I get to talk about this, I really enjoy this part of the program, since it's a celebration of the energy that you have experienced in small things or large things you didn't expect, things that happened because you know you have, asked the universe to do something very, very special for you. So all these things are worth celebrating. And so I want to hear from you or anyone else, all of you, to see what's happened to you perhaps along life that you could say, this is a big miracle or a little miracle. So right now, I want to hear from Monica, perhaps a miracle that's happened to one of our Circle of 12 members.
So this miracle moment comes from Margit, and Margit says, inspired by Lee and Kryon's advice on affirmations before and after Lee's operation, I decided to ask for an operation of my hip after several years of pain and it not getting better. To my surprise, I was offered the operation much sooner than expected. I talked to my body and prepared it for the upcoming intervention like Kryon had taught Lee to do. And then the operation went well 4 weeks ago. The physiotherapist mentioned today that I am way ahead in recovery compared to what she normally sees. And I am enjoying every day. Every new thing I can do without pain is like a fantastic blessing. I'm riding my bike again, walking. Oh, it is like getting a new life. So beautiful. I feel I am Margit 2.0. I am so grateful. Thank you, Kryon, and thank you all for your prayers. I love that, and I love you are claiming yourself as Margit 2.0. What is possible when we start to open up to solutions that may present itself to us for our health concerns, perhaps it's an avenue you didn't consider. Perhaps it's an avenue you've been resisting. Why is that resistance there? So this is where I encourage you to have a look at any resistance you might have. And I love the channel from Kryon. Spirit is always there, ready to get our attention. So Spirit, show me the path that will help me. Use the advice we have from Lee. If you're facing surgery, prepare your body, talk to innate. Everything is like this beautiful, elegant machine, this quantum engine that we have waiting for your intent, your permission, your handshake with Spirit and the guides. As you can see, I'm so inspired by what Margaret has shared and what our community does when we come together and we really send prayers of benevolence. I truly encourage, if you've never done this before, to go and take a look at the names of the people who are submitting a request for themselves or someone they love. And sometimes you can just scroll super fast through the list, just absorbing from a quantum state, and send energy and love to those people. But right now, we're going to do that collectively. So I invite you to close your eyes and just focus on the area of your heart, that infinite intelligence that resides within your heart area. And let's visualize or focus a connection between your heart and the pineal in your brain. And as we strengthen this connection between the heart, the brain, the pineal, let us invite our guides and angels to come even closer, make their presence felt at a deeper level within us. And as we continue focusing on that connection and inviting the guides closer, there's also a field of coherence we are creating between ourselves. And so with that field of coherence that we have now created, we're going to target those who have specifically requested from this beautiful community our help. We can make a difference simply by tuning in at that quantum level. The intelligence of your soul at that quantum level knows every person, past, present, and future, who's requesting our help. So right now we see you, we acknowledge you, we see and acknowledge all those requesting our prayers. And in this moment, we are holding hands with Spirit together, sending love, sending benevolence, sending compassion.